This is Lee Kittell with the Center for Family Justice, and we're bringing you Judge. With me today is David May, and we're going to talk about his case. And, well, again, we've been off the air for a long time. We are now back, and we hope to educate the community and the public as to the nightmare they're going to encounter if they get into family court. So, David, why don't you start at the beginning? Tell us a little bit about your case.
Well, the beginning was pretty simple. I was a poor schlub, working 60 hours a week with a wife and 5 kids. She was homeschooling, so she wasn't working, so it was a one-income family. Mm-hmm. It was me, which is why I was working 60 hours a week. The usual things go on. We had kids that were in soccer, kids that were doing basketball. Actually, we had the 2 girls in soccer. The one boy was in basketball, and we found ourselves just starting to spread.
So, in other words, the typical
there was no
All-American
way,
family.
Yeah, the typical All-American family, but there was no way. 5 kids, it was easy enough. When we actually encountered it, we had Sush, my ex now, going to soccer, mm-hmm. and me missing the soccer games, and taking our oldest boy to the basketball game, and she missed the basketball games.
Tough choice.
Right, and it wasn't one that we really wanted to do. Now, I've done martial arts my whole life, mm-hmm. and so I know it doesn't look like it now. But I knew that it was something that could be a family opportunity. And so all of us went to the 4-1 Center for I'm forgetting it. The 4-1 Center.
and the primary instructor there was
David Brown.
David Brown.
And it was, by all accounts, just the perfect place to be. He was great. She wasn't his wife, but I mean, they'd been together. They would have been husband and wife in any other state but New Mexico, because they've been together for 10 years.
Right.
She was a therapist. Basically, it was really just a nice place, and literally we got so deeply involved in it that we went every day. Mm-hmm. So the kids would go in, I think it was starting about 5 or 6, and then after the kids' classes were done, then the adult classes started.
So basically, you finally found an activity for the entire family.
The entire family could go there. And it was... at the time, I thought probably the biggest blessing we'd ever had, because it really was, for a while, bringing us much closer as a family.
So what changed your feelings that this was a big blessing?
Well, the owner, David Brown,
mm-hmm.
decided that he liked my family a lot, too. He decided that he wanted my children, and he wanted my wife, and he wanted me gone.
So not exactly what you would hope to get from a ethical...
No, it was the absolute opposite. And of course, when you're the schlub at work, you don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. What I found out, how I found out that the affair was going on was through my daughter. She was 15 at the time, my oldest daughter.
Okay. I
got home. I came in early that day, got off early, came home, and she climbed up onto my lap and just broke down into tears because mommy had been leaving her for days at a time. And so this 15-year-old girl was basically mommy to these other 4 children. So
that's a lot to put on a 15-year-old.
It's an insane amount to put on. So when I confronted Sush, that's my ex's name, when I confronted her, she said, "Oh, well, I have to go to therapy." Now, little did I know that the therapy she was getting was, the big, long, hard one in the squad car. So,
well, now David Brown, he's not just a karate instructor. He's with the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department?
Well, at the time, he was a Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputy.
And is he with them now?
No, he is with Edgewood.
Okay, did he retire, or?
I heard there was an early retirement. I'm not sure what that, if it was early or not.
Well, we don't need to speculate over what might be.
What might be, right.
But
what isn't speculation is that when I confronted them, there was a great deal of manipulation, a great deal of apologies, And again, what I didn't know was a great deal of anger that he'd been caught. Well, you know, I mean, the one thing that I knew from my ex, from Sush, was that cheaters cheat and liars lie. He was not the first, okay? And I had actually hoped that, well, the third one became a stalker.
Okay.
I mean, literally to the point to where we're moving towns, changing phones. She was quitting her, you know, she had to quit her job. It was, you know, the usual routine that you wind up with when you've got a stalker.
And so that's scary.
Well, it's really scary, you know, especially when at that point we just had baby number 3. So I had kind of hoped that she had learned her lesson from that, but, you know, evidently not. What wound up happening, though, with Brown was he started controlling and manipulating the entire divorce process. And
so basically he was giving her legal advice?
I don't know if he was, no, I don't know that it's necessarily legal advice. What he did was, she had an attorney. She was told by Nan Nash that we were broke, and therefore the state didn't really, or Albuquerque didn't really care about dragging this out.
Right.
Because neither one of us had any money for the attorneys.
That seems to be the MO of the 2nd Judicial District.
And so what happened was her attorney, well, I don't know if she was fired or if she quit, but John D'Amato came in as her second attorney, and this was within weeks of filing of the divorce. And
he seems to be a favored,
he's
son of many of the judges.
Well, and he's also a FOB, a Fraternal Order of Policemen attorney.
So they're,
and so he gave her a cut rate on her bills, and so we were kind of off and running with this thing. I've got some letters and things which show the kind of things that he was doing. He would. Well, actually, let's go ahead and show some of them.
Well, let's see now.
That's the easiest thing to do is the exhibit from her deposition. If you really want to know what David Brown was doing.
Okay.
So if you can read that, I mean, just that section there.
Okay. So the question was, tell me about the substance of this conversation between you and David Brown about David May's custody and how it affects the amount of time David spends with his kids, up through what you said was child support a minute ago. It sounded like there were a couple of topics related to custody issues that you and Mr. Brown have discussed. The answer was, it was a general conversation revolving around the more time the children spend with their father, the less he may have to pay in child support. Money.
Right.
Then the next question was, is that the reason why you would oppose allowing your children to spend more time with their father, that it might negatively affect the amount of discretionary income you have? That's part of the reason, yes.
So, I mean, David Brown, whether or not he was giving her legal advice, I don't know. But he admittedly, she admitted that he was spending time making sure that I lost custody and providing her attorney. I'm sure that he was providing her some forms of financial help.
So he was trying to be the knight in shining armor.
Well, actually, he really considered himself to be a knight in shining armor.